This video is intended to help get you started in Crimson Desert in a way that has your character looking good, feeling good, and of course, fighting good. But most importantly, you as a player feeling a little less overwhelmed. Let's begin. So the prologue has concluded and you took a little pony ride with the cartographer over here to this tent. Well, the first thing I'm going to have you do is start to retrace your steps a little bit, and we're going to pick up a couple really important items and also learn about them. Your map won't have as much revealed as mine does right now, but you're currently going to be at the Free Sword encampment, which is basically on the northwestern corner of the city. Now, this is pretty common sense, but walk up towards the question mark on your mini-map and just observe this character for a moment. There's not much to do with this character, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is as you adventure across the maps in this game, when you see a question mark on your map or on your mini-map, go up and reveal what that character is. Many times it will be a vendor, and that vendor will then be marked on your map so you can locate it again in the future. After looking at that turd muffin, you're then going to go ahead and just walk forward down this dirt and wood path, stick to the right, and then take a right in the fork in the road, and you're going to see a few items sitting on a box right here. As a new player, even picking up items might feel a little weird in this game, but I promise the more you do it, the better you're going to get at this game. But go ahead and pick up the mystery items here, which will no longer be mystery items if you find them again. We're going to pick up the jar, the food, and then also the beer bottles. They might be wine bottles. Oh, cooking oil. I take it back. Hop back over the fence and start heading directly north on the mini-map, and stop to pick up any food that you see on the right side of the road. Heading past the stables, we're still headed up here to the north, a little bit to the east. We're going to break this vase right here, this jar, and once again, pick up everything that fell to the ground. There should be a ton of potatoes in here, which are going to be really, really useful. And we're just going to head further down the road right here to the north. As you get to this little bend right here, you might actually see a character here. There might even be a woman with a cat. There's two little rocks that are sticking up here and also a shield on the ground, and go ahead and pick up that shield. And then back up a little bit, and I'm going to have you do the light reflection mechanic that you learned in the prologue, and you're going to notice that a certain object on this stone altar right here is reflecting light back at you, which means that it's either a sealed abyss artifact or it's perhaps a fast travel point. Right on your D-pad, or T on mouse and keyboard, will put your weapon away so you can then pick this item up. You can twirl it around in your hands a little bit if you want to, but go ahead and stow it and you'll unlock your first challenge in the game. Shield of Unchanging Will 1. Defeat 3 enemies with a shield. So if we go into our menu and go over to Journal and then to Challenges, you'll be able to find that challenge that you just unlocked, and it will give you the description of what you need to do if you forgot what it just told you. The reward is an Abyss artifact. So the artifact that we just picked up is a sealed Abyss artifact. If we complete this challenge, we will then unseal it and be able to use it in our skill trees or to upgrade weapons a little bit later on in the game. Now look out towards the north and you're going to see 3 characters, one of them sitting there in a little group right here, and these are bandits. But we're going to go ahead and avoid them, but we're only avoiding them for about a minute because we're going to go pick up another sealed artifact that has a much easier challenge to complete, and you can do it right here on these 3 bandits. So go ahead and just hop above the little rock ledge and keep your distance and follow my path. And head down towards the bridge, and guess what? If we do the light reflection mechanic, something is shining back at us, and we're going to go up here. And we're going to take the item, the sealed abyss artifact, out of its little house. And now we have a challenge called the Sword of Trials. Defeat 3 enemies within 30 seconds using a sword. Now you can, of course, try the shield challenge on these bandits that are back the way that we just came, but it's going to be a lot easier just killing 3 of them really quickly here. You can pretty much just spam light attack and you'll most likely be able to do it. So here we go. And our first challenge is now complete. And all you have to do is go into your inventory, click on the Abyss item right here, which will bring you to like a little side inventory where all of your sealed Abyss artifacts will be. Go down one and then click on the artifact that says Sword of Trials and basically consume it. And now you have your first artifact that you got in the open world. And what you can do is you can see this in your inventory. The sealed ones have the purple around them, but the actual abyss artifacts that are unsealed look like that right there. You cannot sell these, but go ahead and tab over to your skills menu, and we're going to spend our first skill point here. And what I'm going to recommend is that you put a lot of your points initially into pure stamina, which is the top node right here. There's a lot of cool skills and fun things in these skill trees, but I highly recommend focusing on stamina first. It's going to make a world of a difference with navigating around the map, and it's also going to help you unlock the ability to use certain skills, and it's going to make it easier to use stamina based skills. So go ahead and click on that node and put your first point into stamina. If you scroll over to the inventory tab, you can see your character's stats here. And Cliff currently now has 140 stamina. I previously had 120. I highly recommend getting your stamina to 200 before even considering investing into other skills. Go ahead and loot the bandits because we need to get as much loot as we possibly can. You might even find swords and weapons on the ground, and your minimap has little X's on it that will tell you where bandits' bodies are or where weapons have been dropped. Now, before we go back across the bridge, I'm going to have you go up this little cliff right here, and we're going to do some more looting. Head directly north, and you're going to see some NPCs standing around this area that has a ton of crates, and we're going to start picking up some loot. You can destroy crates and boxes, but if you do it in an area that looks like it's property owned by certain NPCs, you might actually be flagged for the crime system. But here you should be okay. So break boxes as you come across them and just pick up the items that are on the ground. You won't be able to actually kill any of the NPCs until you find a mask and put that mask on. So don't worry about killing them, but be careful. If there's guards nearby, they can still get mad at you for swinging. And then finally, we have the little tent in this area. And over here on the western side of the tent, you're actually going to see a 𝑔𝑎𝑚𝑒 sword and a shield that I want you to pick up first. Weapons in this game are different than many other games out there, and you can actually stick with some of the starting weapons for a very long time in the game as long as you upgrade them. So don't be too confused when you pick up weapons and you're like, well, why are the stats like very similar to one another? That's the reason why. It's more so a choice of what you like the feel of and also the look of, with little bits of stats here and there that might differentiate between different swords, etc. The 𝑠IDMAN sword that I picked up from the bandits has +2 more attack than Cliff's sword that he starts the game with, but do note that Cliff's sword is actually level 0, while the 𝑠IDMAN sword has been leveled up twice. So if I were to level up Cliff's sword, the attack damage would actually be higher than the 𝑠IDMAN sword, but the 𝑠IDMAN sword has the benefit of giving you a little bit of a boost to critical rate, while Cliff's base sword does not. If you want to dual wield right away, go into your quick wheel and make sure that you're under weapons right here and scroll over where the shield is. If you're on controller, hit right trigger and you can switch to your other shield, but you can also be dual wielding 2 swords here, which is pretty fun in this game. Go ahead and call your horse in and then ride across this bridge. When you get to the fork in the road, I'm going to have you take a right, and this is the path that you took with the cartographer right after the prologue of the game concluded. At the cartographer's house, I want you to start developing the habit of when you see a campfire with a cooking pot or without one, observing it and looking at it, and what it's going to do is unlock the little fire icon on your map. So if you need a place to cook, you can find it on your map, or if you need a place to pass some time, you can also do that at bonfires. Walking up to the cooking pot is going to give you the cooking prompt, but if you go ahead and use your zoom in focus button, it actually gives you options to wait in the game. So if it's nighttime and you don't want to be running around at night, you can of course pass 3, 6, or even 12 hours of time. Go ahead and click cook on the pot. We're not going to use up any of the vegetables that you've picked up so far, but I want you to go ahead and make 2 satisfying toasted grains here. Now I want you to hold down right on the D-pad or F3 on mouse and keyboard, and this is going to bring up another quick select menu. Make sure that you have highlighted right here satisfying toasted grains. And now if you simply press right on the D-pad one time or F3, you'll get a heal. And this is what you're going to be using a lot in combat. Go ahead and just keep following this path down to where you actually spawned in after the prologue. And this is going to be a fun little secret right here. I'm going to have you head across this river. Be careful, because swimming does require stamina and you can drown. On the middle island right here, you can actually find a fishing pole. So pick that up because fishing's fun. Holding down left on the D-pad or F2, where your bow slot is where you're going to switch to the fishing pole if you would like to use it, if you want to try it out right now. And then you just simply hold down left trigger, and then you are using the fishing pole rather than the bow. And then when you want to go back to the bow, make sure to switch it back. Cross the next part of water and head to the left, and you'll find an axe and some arrows. Okay, heading back towards the waterfall, but still on this side of the stream, we're going to take a left and go up towards the cliff, and you're going to notice a little bit of an opening in the rock. Go ahead and pull out your lantern and make sure you have it lit, and we're going to see what this is all about. And here we have the Shadows Whisper Cave, a location that I think the vast majority of players are going to miss. There's going to be a ton of little items in here that you can pick up, but the main reason why we're here is for a recipe and also to pick up 2 very important items that are going to make your life a lot easier, especially when you're fighting bosses. And that is these 2 items right here on this table. And these are called Palmer pills. What a Palmer pill is going to do is when you die, it'll give you an opportunity to res back into the spot where you died with 30% HP, which can be super useful when you have a boss that's low on HP and you don't want to redo the entire encounter. But also on this table, we have the alchemy formula to create Palmer pills. Very important. Go ahead and pick that up, inspect it, and now we can do alchemy, although we probably don't have the required resources to actually craft this just yet. But over on the other side of this cave, you're going to find a cauldron. Click on that cauldron and you can see right there that you can craft Palmer pills if you have these particular ingredients. You can find a few of these in this cave, but not enough. If you find that your inventory is full at any point while you're doing this, feel free to go through your inventory, and anything that you see that is only 1 to 5 or so coin, feel free to discard as long as it's not food, especially these items that have the little house symbol on them, because you're not going to have a house for a very long time. Forgot to mention that your horse can also swim, so you can take your horse back across the water. Head back past the cartographer's house, back up the hill. Out in the distance, there's a cliff and there's a white tent, and you'll be looking at what is a bandit camp right about here on the map. And if you're feeling ambitious, you can go attempt the shield challenge or go get yourself some more loot. If you go into your skills menu, you'll actually find a shield bash skill, and it will tell you what inputs you need to press, but this one can be a little bit challenging, so don't stress out over it too much. Don't get stuck in the wagon like this. It's a really bad idea. Head back across the wooden bridge, and we're going to head towards the city to offload some of our inventory. Now keep in mind, the more that you use your horse, the more your horse levels up, which can be represented in your inventory. And then click on your horse, and you can see in the bottom left, we have skills that will gain as we level up the horse. Right when you make it to the stone street here, I want you to climb up this bell tower, pick up another Palmer pill, and then ring the bell. Ringing this bell will get a faction quest going that you'll eventually be doing, but it will also actually reveal a large chunk of the map. Go ahead and head further down the street. If you want to reveal all of the question marks that you have on your map in this town, go ahead. I would recommend doing that at some point so you know which type of vendors exist and where they are. But for now, I just want you to come over here to the left and talk to this guy named Rhett. Click on sell, and we're going to clean out our inventory. You're probably going to have a lot more than what I have on this load point right here. Go ahead and do not be shy here. Clean out your inventory and get rid of any of the weapons that you picked up that you don't plan on really immediately using. Get rid of all the items that have the little home symbol on them. You don't really have any use for those right now. And then if you have any items in your inventory that are labeled as unpackaged trade goods, but as far as I'm aware, you have nowhere to sell this item this early on in the game. You do end up unlocking an NPC type of vendor later on in chapter 2, and then you can actually sell these to get some pretty decent copper and silver, but right now I would just discard most of these. But before you leave the vendor, click on buy and buy the small bag. Every time you see a vendor sell a small bag, I encourage purchasing them because they do actually increase your inventory size. Also note that Rhett sells a two-handed sword if you want to get that journey started right now, but you will be picking up some that drop. If you want to talk to the blacksmith, go ahead right now, but we're not going to be crafting or doing their faction quest just yet. But before you leave, go ahead and swing around to the side of the shop here and discover this grindstone right here. Once you discover it, it will start showing on your mini map. When you use grindstones in this game, you will get a stat increase on non-wood weapons, even the ones that you don't have currently equipped on your character. So if we take a look at my inventory right here, you will see that all of the swords in my inventory and the ones I have equipped to have a reinforcement attack bonus of +5, which is pretty significant. Now, this will slowly go down as you engage in combat, but you can always come back to the grindstone and get that boost going once again. Very useful. I want you to head behind the blacksmith's house right here, and there's a few ways to get here. And we are going to discover our first fast travel point. What you have to do is just stand on the center of it, and it will activate. And now when you go to your map, and make sure on your map that you have all or environment as the tabs that you're on, otherwise you won't be able to see these fast travel points. And all you have to do is just click on an Abyss Nexxus fast travel point and press Y if you're on controller, and you'll be able to fast travel to that location from anywhere on the map as long as your character is not moving or on their horse. There's one more NPC that I want to bring up right now. You can, of course, talk to all of them. If you go down the street, you're going to head towards the windmill that you can see off there in the distance. And there will be this shady goblin-looking character who will sell a mask. And if you haven't picked up a mask yet, you can purchase one here for only 10 copper. He also sells a small bag for a hefty price. Don't worry about buying that right now, but you will come back later to pick that up. And he sells a key, which is only 30 copper, which I recommend picking up as it will allow you to get into homes. On your weapon quick wheel, this is where you can put on or take off your mask. When you have your mask on, you are allowed to commit certain crimes, such as stealing from NPCs. You can also end up killing NPCs if you swing at them, so I recommend keeping it off when you don't want to accidentally end up, you know, slashing at somebody and causing damage. At this point in time, you might want to consider going through chapter 1 of the main story. Chapter 1 is going to unlock a bunch of skills for you that you don't have to invest artifacts into to learn. And you also gain the ability to start going into your crow form, where you have wings and you can fly. You don't have to do chapter 1 immediately, but it's just going to make this next part a little bit easier as you're able to navigate the land a little bit better. Now standing at the base of the bell tower, if you look northwest, you'll see a tower up there on the top of that cliff or that hill, and we're going to head there. There's a road that swings around on the left to bring you all the way up there, but if you want to have some fun, go ahead and climb the rocks. Just be careful because you still don't have a ton of stamina. Once you make it to the top of the mountain, I want you to start developing the habit of using the light reflection mechanic to scan the environment for sealed abyss artifacts and fast travel points. We have one right there. There's one right there, which is actually a fast travel point, and then there's a ton of them up here in the mountains. Before we consider going after any of these though, turn around and head to the tower. Observe the campfire so you have the icon on your map, and then click on the anvil. And what an anvil is going to do is it's going to boost the defense values of your chest armor, your boots, and your gloves. And as you take damage, that number is going to slowly deplete, but you can always come back to an anvil to get that boost once again. Really good thing to do before going into a boss fight. So as you can see right here, my leather armor has +5, my gloves have +2, and my boots have +2. So take note of this anvil location, as the anvil doesn't actually show up on the map. At least it doesn't in my current version of the game. So now, especially if you're heading into difficult content, you can stop at the grindstone and also an anvil to boost the stats of your character. In the tent next to the anvil, there's a cool little helm called the Helm of Ignition. You might as well pick it up because it's kind of cool. It's a unique item. And it's worth 14 silver, which is going to take care of a lot of our problems early on in the game. And I also haven't found really any good use out of the helm's features. Head back over to the ledge and we are going to start heading out to the shinies. You can start with the left one, which is that Nexxus Abyss fast travel point, but I'm going to head to the second one over to the right. Be very careful when you don't actually have the fly ability. This is why I was somewhat recommending considering doing the main quest before you get too far into some of these starter's guide tips, because going down a mountain can be a little bit scary, as you're going to take some fall damage if you're not careful with how you navigate down. But I made it down the mountain into the other side of the stream, and we are coming up on this second light reflection, if we're including the fast travel point. And this will be your first ancient ruins that you've stumbled upon. And ancient ruins tend to contain puzzles, and when you solve them, you end up getting an abyss artifact to invest into your character. And this puzzle right here, I will label it on the map for any of you guys that haven't been following all the movements that I've made so far, but you can see the starting town is right here and the starting fast travel point. I just basically went directly to the west and kind of over here near this river. Ancient ruins is right there, directly under the right side of the giant A of Hernand on the map. This puzzle's so simple that it can actually be hard. You literally only have to just come over here and grab this white stone on the ground and then drop it on this one area right here where there is no stone. Just literally just put it down. Puzzle complete. Go ahead and grab your Abyss Crescent right here. Now, an Abyss Crescent is going to give you an artifact to spend right away. It's not a sealed artifact, but it's also going to unlock a fast travel point. If we look on the map right here, it's not just these Abyss Nexuses, these, circular type paths that you can fast travel on. You're going to stumble across these Abyss Crescents that will give you an artifact and also the ability to teleport to that location. If you try to spend that artifact on your stamina, you're going to notice that you actually now need 2 Abyss artifacts to level it up. So we're going to have to find another one. From this puzzle, face directly north on your compass indicated on your mini map, and you're going to go to the other side of this water. Try not to scare the deer. Now, you might have come across deer several times on your adventure so far, but this is actually a spot where I always find them, and it's a little bit harder for them to escape because there is a body of water in some ways trapping them in. We're going to do a little bit of hunting here. Cooking in this game is very, very important, and I want to get some meat here that we can cook alongside our vegetables and fruit. Now, you should have a bow on your character, and to access your bow, bring up your weapon menu here, and go down to the bottom right here, and make sure that the bow is selected, and you should have arrows. Now, you're going to go ahead and aim your bow, and there is a little bit of a lock-on, and just start firing at a few of the deer, and it should take a few shots because you don't have the bow leveled up. If they come near you, you can always pull out a sword, of course, and it will be much quicker. And kill as many deer as you possibly can. Trust me, you're going to need the meat, and all you have to do is walk up to the deer's body. You don't need like a knife or anything. You just walk up to the body and click on X, and then you'll skin. Maybe you do need a dagger for this. I'm not entirely sure if that's required, but you should have a dagger to start the game either way. If you find it too hard to kill and chase deer down, don't forget that you can actually fight on the back of your horse. You can shoot your bow, but you can also just whack deer as you go by them, and they'll start to drop like flies. Just on the cliff above where I was fighting the deer, you can see that the mini-map has gone cloudy a little bit, and there's a question mark, and that is because there is a Nexxus fast travel point right here that we're going to unlock. You can return back here for easy deer farming or goat. There's a lot of goats right here. Don't be afraid to kill some goats. They're actually way easier to kill than the deer now that I think of it. They take less hits, it seems like, and they do give the same type of meat. And since we're up here, you might as well just not miss it. Over on the other side of the falls right here, you're not going to be able to do anything with that material right now, but there is a little chest right here that should have some sort of copper pouch in it or a silver pouch. So we're going to go ahead and just open up this chest. And we got a decent copper pouch among a few other things. Now for the pouches that you get, make sure to go into your inventory and you're going to see them. And what you need to do is hold down the click button and then go down to use all versus using them individually. Otherwise it will just take too long. And make sure to get your money. Since we're on some high ground right now, it's a great time to use the light reflection mechanic. And as you can see, there is one that I was very close to that I must have missed. And then that's the first one that I chose to ignore, which is a Nexxus fast travel point. We're going to go ahead and head to that one. And I just got a double kill on the deer because they didn't see me coming. Oh, I might get a triple kill. So much meat now. Oh gosh, wow. As we head to the east here, there is a little bandit camp that you're going to pass by. The bandit shouldn't be too hard to kill here, and there's a lot of loot that you can get. If you go inside the tents, you're going to notice that there are little chests all around, and these are going to have like all sorts of pouches for you. And then there's also these weapons boxes right here. And I think there's like 4 or 5 of them in this camp. They do take up a lot of room in your inventory, but they sell for 38 each. So if you have some room, you know, make some room for those and just sell a bunch of them when we get back to the city. And just south of this bandit camp that you just looted, we have an abyss artifact or a sealed artifact on the road, and this one we did see from the tower. You can see it's right there. There are a few bandits right there, so be careful. I'll probably just sneak up if you don't feel like fighting them and go ahead and grab that sealed artifact and see what challenge awaits you. So head southeast back towards the castle and kind of near the starting tent that I started this video in, and actually just right here there's actually a cooking pot, even though we do know that they're in several places as we have discovered many of them. Make sure to go ahead and discover this one, and now we're going to actually cook. And keep in mind, cooking and the food that you have is your primary source of healing. But we're going to keep it very, very simple for, you know, your first 10-20 hours of this game. Actually, you can keep it simple for the entire game if you want to, despite there being so many different recipes in this game. But when you get into the cooking menu, I'm going to go ahead and have you hit F on keyboard or hit X on controller. And what we're going to do is improvise here, because we don't have the recipe yet for what I'm going to make. And you're going to basically just take any vegetable. Let's just take a potato, actually. Take a potato, and then also 1 piece of fine meat, which we farmed from the deer and the goat. And then I'm going to click make. We get a little bit of a cutscene. And we now just crafted, or cooked, shall I say, meat skewers. And if we look in our inventory, meat skewers heal for 120 health, and they also give you a little bit of a spirit boost as well because you used the potato as part of it. And if we look at my character's health, I'm currently at 300, so this is almost a heal that will do half of my health bar at this current stage of the game. So 120 is pretty good early on in the game, and you only need 1 piece of meat and then a vegetable, or I think it even works with fruit. And if you want to up the power of that heal from 120 to 160 and also up the spirit a little bit, you can do 3 and 3. But, you know, initially, this is just so easy just to use 1 and 1, and you can make so much food for your character, which will get you through at least the first few hours of this game. And head back down into town and talk to Rhett and clean out your inventory. You should be starting to have at least a decent amount of silver, especially if you sell that Helm of Ignition. Do note that Rhett is actually going to sell the armor that we're going to be pursuing. Just doesn't have it available in his shop just yet. At this point in time, you should have invested enough points into stamina to have it at least level 4, which would give you 200 stamina, and this allows you to now use certain skills such as upgraded Axiom Force, and you gained Axiom Force in Chapter 1 of the game. You got it for free, but if you upgrade it one time, you'll end up getting Aerial Maneuver, which allows you to shoot it and then grab it and kind of hop up and gain some height and jump over cliffs and objects. And then you can also get Aerial Swing if you invest into it even further, and this is not only just really fun, and it can also be useful in combat, but it's also super useful for navigating the environment and getting up and over ledges. Now, with that said, with only 200 stamina, you're going to have a hard time fully utilizing some of these. So I actually would recommend going more than 200. I would recommend at least like 260 to 300 as early as possible, and then you'll be able to use some of these skills much better. But feel free to get them at 200 and mess around with them, and then see if you want more stamina. I think you're most likely going to want more stamina. Now, other skills that I would consider investing into first here, one is double jump down here in the spirit skill tree. It's just going to make, you know, basic controls feel a little bit easier navigating the map, etc. And then there's two other ones that I would consider, and do these before you get into all like the crazy skills and all that, because your character is already quite powerful. So these two nodes are armed combat and the spirit tree, and then if you're a big bow user, marksmanship. So every point you put into armed combat, it's going to get you new exciting skills that you can do and new animations, etc. But every point you put into it is going to increase the base damage of your melee weapons. So this is one you should consider doing early on, and then the same thing applies for marksmanship, but with your ranged weapons. The next thing we should focus on here are a few parts of Chapter 2, and after this, I promise you, you're going to feel like you are ready to go out into the world. You're going to feel powerful. You're going to feel good. When you get to Lioncrest Watchtower, the first part of Chapter 2, as you work your way up to the top, you're going to end up doing a special thing, learning about a special memory helm. But in this room, more towards the stairs, there's actually a helm that you can pick up, and you can put this plate helm on. I don't have footage of it in this video though, and it's pretty good, and this will save you some money from having to buy another plate helm that I'm going to talk about here soon. Make sure to check this room for loot after you're done, and then go to the top of the tower. Do not go down the stairs. And on the very top of the tower, you're going to find a ton of copper on the ground, and you're also going to find these gilded vases, which are worth a decent amount of coin. And also you're going to find a framed picture. One of the three here is actually worth quite a bit of coin. It's called the Silence of Dawn, and you can go sell that down with the vendors back in the city. On the ground of the tower here, there's also a bunch of weapons sitting around. I think there's a chest. You can find some meat, so I would suggest looting that as well. Yes, you do have to equip your mask, and this does count as stealing right here, but I promise a few of these items are going to be worth it, and they're going to make your life easier. The next part of this quest will have you learning two skills that you don't have to spend artifacts on, and that is Nature's Grasp to lift things up in the environment, as well as Focus, which will slow down time, but it also rapidly regenerates your spirit, and you can invest more points into the Focus node to have some other cool things that come with it. And then you'll leave with an Abyss artifact. And then eventually you're going to be back in the city for the second part of Chapter 2, and this quest is called For Honor, and this is what is going to ultimately unlock an entire armor set that you can purchase from the weapons and armor vendor that we talked to earlier named Rhett, who didn't have these particular items in his inventory at that time. So do the For Honor quest, kill the knight, and then go talk to Rhett, and you notice that we have a full plate set for sale. And if you sell the picture, and if you sold a few other things that I told you about, and a few of the things you have in your inventory right now, you should have enough money to buy this entire set. And it is a great set. You can keep it for, I kept it for over 100 hours in the game, and you can continuously upgrade it. I promise we're almost done with the video here. After that, I would recommend doing the faction quest that becomes available after talking to Rhett, so not just buying from him, and also talking to the blacksmith, and these can be found in your journal after you do that. They're under faction quests, and they're going to be under command commissions, And the top one right here, as well as 𝑡𝑒𝑙's request, these are going to get you basically learning how to upgrade your equipment and use his little shop in there. And this will allow you to level up your gear and add defense value and all of that good stuff. If you hit a difficulty wall in the game, come back here, get your weapons and armor to at least level 4 or 5. At level 5, they do start to require artifacts, so I'd say at least level 4 early on, and then 5 as you progress further. Now, the last part of this video deals with witches. So some gear in this game, I'm on a later load point right now, some gear in this game you're going to be able to slot abyss cores onto, such as this rapier right here. You can see that it has wind slash, it has an extra attack 1 and attack speed 1. These are extra attachments that you can put on weapons and armor, but you won't be able to do it until you start a witch's quest line. But because I'm playing on the review copy, it took until chapter 5 of the main story to unlock that, but they are making a change. I think this is a day 1 change to where somewhere earlier in the game, somehow a witch is going to present herself to you, whether it might even be through a bird that drops off a letter. But if you get anything in your game that mentions a witch, get on that quest right away, and you're going to start being able to use abyss cores and slot them onto your weapons or take them off for extra affixes and extra little abilities that come with that. I highly recommend prioritizing this because you're going to pick up a bunch of abyss cores. I have some of my inventory here that you're simply just not going to even know what to do with until you actually talk to the witches. And lastly, I just want to mention that when you pick up a bunch of weapons, if you do put some basic upgrades into them before selling them, they will sell for more. So if you're looking for more silver, consider doing that, but don't invest too much into weapons that you plan on selling because you don't want to waste all those materials when you need them for your own equipment. So that's going to be it for this video. Your character should be looking good now, feeling good, be quite powerful. You should have some good land maneuverability skills. You should have at least a decent array of weapons that we've come across at this point, so you have the weapons of your choice. You got a bunch of points into stamina, which I think is very important. And now you're ready to set off into the open world and just do whatever the heck you want. Now, with that said, I will say in chapter 5 of the main story is when you unlock the Greymane camp and you can start building up like a home base. Chapter 5 takes a little while to get to. I would just say, don't put it off for too long. But, most importantly, though, after you finish chapter 2, it's really important just to have fun and go off and do what you want to do. But I'm just pointing out that in chapter 5, you unlock that camp. So thank you all so much for watching. This game can be a little bit tough to get into initially, but if you push through it, it really opens up to an amazing experience. I'll catch you all on the next one.